Welcome to your complete beginner's guide for the DJI Mic Mini. This is a small, compact wireless microphone system that makes it super easy to get clean audio in a variety of situations. And in this video, I'm gonna go through everything that you need to know about this transmitter-receiver combo so that you could get the best audio when you're out filming. So let me go through a quick overview of what you're gonna learn in this video. First, we're gonna go over the devices themselves, all the buttons and everything you have access to on the transmitter and receiver, so that you have a complete understanding of how it all works. In the second section, we're gonna dig into the software that you use. So how you pair this with the DJI MIMO app and get the most out of your transmitter and receiver. We'll also go through how you use these with your other devices like your Osmo Action 5 Pro or your Osmo Pocket. And then in the last section, I'm gonna talk a little bit about workflow and how I personally use the DJI Mic Mini to make my videos. Now, before we jump into it, I just wanna say a special thanks to DJI for sponsoring this beginner's guide. So I'm up here on the top of this peak, and right now I'm actually using the DJI Mic 2 to record this audio. So you're gonna hear the difference between the DJI Mic 2 and the DJI Mic Mini when I turn on the Mic Mini and start using it to make parts of this video as well. However, before we get into the first section where we talk all about this combo, let me give you a rundown of the Mic Mini and some of the features that are gonna be really useful when you're making your videos. And to do that, I'm gonna switch over to the DJI Mic Mini, which you're hearing right now. And one of the biggest reasons to use a wireless system is to get away from the camera. So you could get a distance away and do these wider shots where you can move around the space or film people that are away from camera. When you're typically using with something like a shotgun microphone, you have to keep close distance to whoever you're filming, whether that's yourself or you're filming with other people. And so the wireless system gives you that flexibility to get shots like this, where you're a little bit wider. It allows you to do more interesting compositions and really change up what you're doing. Now, right now I'm just hand holding this microphone like this, but I could easily just put it on my shirt as well. Now, another big thing with this system is that there's no cables. So you don't have any cables running up your shirt, and it's just a small little transmitter. Now, also with that, there is nowhere to input a lavalier if that is something that you want to use. So it's smaller, more compact. However, the actual transmitter itself is the microphone, and so it's super simple because you just have to use the transmitter as your microphone. Now, something else that's cool with this setup is that all the accessories, so like the windscreen on top, which is helping block this wind, and the cable all fit in the charging case so that you could keep everything in one spot. Now, battery life, you have 11 and a half hours on the transmitters. So I could keep this on pretty much all day and I'm not gonna run out of battery. And on the receiver, it's 10 and a half hours. And when you put it in the charging case, it's gonna charge your transmitter and receiver 3.5 times. So you get a ton of battery life with this tiny little setup. Now, beyond connecting to your camera, you can connect to a smartphone, your Osmo Action 5 Pro, your Osmo Action 4, or your DJI Pocket 3. So you could use these in a wide range of setups depending on which camera that you're using when you're out filming. Right now, I'm shooting with the Action 5 Pro. And one thing that I've noticed working with this wireless setup is that overall, DJI has made the sound of the wireless Mic Mini better than the DJI Mic 2. The microphone they used on this little transmitter just sounds so much cleaner and so much better, which is pretty wild and why I've been using the Mic Mini on most of my videos recently. I've been hiding it down here on my backpack strap before it was released, and whenever I do a voiceover, I just do it like this. And we'll talk about workflow and how to use this microphone a little bit later towards the end of this video. And this is DJI's smallest wireless system. And with that, it also comes with 2 different levels of noise cancellation so that it can focus in on your voice no matter what setting you're in. And one of the biggest differences between the DJI Mic Mini and the DJI Mic 2 is there's no backup recording on the Mic Mini. However, that makes it much smaller, more compact, and even a lot cheaper. And the design of the Mic Mini is much more simple than what you'll find on the DJI Mic 2. And so that brings us into our first section. Let's dig into everything that you find on the Mic Mini and how to use it. So depending on which kit that you purchase with your DJI Mic Mini, there's gonna be a few different accessories that come with it. The full kit is 2 transmitters, receiver, and you get a little soft pouch to go with it, but then you also get your charging case, which will hold all the accessories. There's a few additional accessories that won't fit in this charging case, and they're gonna go in the soft case. Now you can also buy this as a standalone transmitter. So if you just wanna use the mic mini with, say, your Action 5 Pro or your phone, then you could buy it as a standalone. It also comes with a little pouch, and it comes with a little charging dock. So it's just a single transmitter, and it has a charging dock and a few extras, and it fits all nicely in a soft pouch. And so here on screen are all the different ways that you could purchase this microphone and all the accessories that are available for it. And so let's go over the smaller kit, the $59 kit. You get the small pouch that holds all your accessories. You get the little charging dock, the transmitter, you get 2 different windscreens, and then you get your charging cable. Now for the windscreens, if you get the white version, which is what I'm holding right here, you get a white wind puff, which is gonna match it, or you get the gray one, which is kind of like the one I have here on the DJI Mic 2. Now, if you get the black version of this, it's the exact same, except for instead of the white windscreen, you get a black windscreen. And so the 2 different options, depending on what you need to use it for, you could get white or you could get the black version. Now, if you get the bigger setup with the charging case, well, you get a bigger soft case. This is gonna hold all the extras like the extra windscreens and your charging cable. But in the battery case, it can hold your 2 windscreens that you want to use at that time, and also it's going to hold the cable that connects to your camera. So in the top of the case here, you can wind up your cable and stick it right in the case so that you could have it always in the charger case and not have to take the soft case with you. You can also keep both windscreens on the microphones so that when you close it, it's all nice and secure inside. You'll also see, just as with the DJI Mic 2, there's a place for 2 different types of phone adapters, the USB-C or the Lightning, and then there's a place for the receiver right in the middle. And this charging case has a USB-C on the back, which is how you charge it. It takes about 2 hours to charge the charging case full. And as I said earlier, this will charge your transmitter and your receiver 3.6 times. So you'll get a ton of power just from one charge of the case. So let's go over what you find on the transmitters. So on each transmitter, there's gonna be a clip, and this is what you could use to clip to your t-shirt. You could clip it to a backpack. I often like to use it with a backpack with a strap across my chest, and I'll put the microphone right there. And then also on this clip, you'll find that it's magnetized. So it comes with a little magnet so that you can magnetize it through something like a shirt and you don't have to actually use the clip. And this is the method I like to use when I'm filming because it keeps the microphone in the proper location where it's not super close to my neck, but it's like right in the middle of my chest so I can get the best audio when I'm working with one of these microphones. Now on the bottom, you'll see these 4 gold little circles. This is how you charge the DJI Mic Mini. And if you have the charging case, it just clips right into the charging case. Or if you have the adapter, you have to put it in the little dock to be able to charge this. There's no USB-C on the actual Mic Mini itself. So you have to use the dock or the charging case to be able to charge the Mic Mini. Now on one side, you're gonna find a power button. And then on top of that, you're gonna find your link button. And the link is gonna allow you to link this to different devices. So you could put it in pairing mode to be able to link to your phone or to the receiver or to something like your Osmo Action 5. And I'll show you later on this video how we actually link this to the device that we want to use. And then on the top, you'll see your microphone. You'll see a series of holes right in the middle. And then the 2 bigger holes on the outside is what hooks into the windscreen that goes on top of the microphone. And for that, you just push it on until you hear a clip, and then it will be securely on and you don't have to worry about this falling off. Now also on the Mic Mini, you're gonna find 2 different LEDs. The one next to the pairing button and the power button is gonna be your status indicator. And this is gonna flash different colors. It's gonna tell you some different things. The one on the other side is your noise cancellation LED. And you'll be able to see whether your noise cancellation is turned on or off. And so that's basically it. There's not a lot to this transmitter. There's no way to put in an additional microphone like a lav or anything like that. So essentially, it's just a wireless mic, and that's it. Now, when we look at the receiver, you'll see that it's much more simple than the DJI Mic 2 receiver. The DJI Mic 2 has a full screen on it and you could adjust all of your settings using the actual DJI Mic 2 and you never have to connect it to your phone or your computer to use it. With the DJI Mic Mini, it's a lot more basic. So it's simple. There's only a few buttons on the actual receiver itself and the rest of the controls are done through the DJI MIMO app. So you're gonna connect this to your phone and then from there, you could go through and adjust all of your settings. And so the second section of this video, I'm gonna show you the DJI MIMO app and we'll adjust all the settings together and I'll show you what you have available when you actually hook this up to DJI MIMO. But on the receiver itself, you'll see a few things. Right on the front, it says Mic RX, means receiver. And there's a little light next to that. And so that will tell you if it's on or off. Now on top of that, you'll see 2 other lights, a 1 and a 2. And these are basically just to tell you if you have 1 transmitter or 2 transmitters hooked into the receiver. So when you have a receiver connected, you'll see that this light will glow green. Now also what you'll find is that there's a dial on the right side, and this goes from negative 12 dB all the way up to positive 12 dB. And this is the output from the receiver. So when you have this hooked onto your camera, you adjust this for how loud you want the signal to go out of the receiver into your camera. And so 0 is the baseline. And if it's too quiet, you can add 6 decibels or you can add 12. And if it's too loud, you can go -6 or -12. So it's just a quick adjustment right on the receiver itself to adjust the output of the audio that's being sent to your camera. And now on one side, you're gonna find an orange audio connector. This is what you're gonna connect to your camera. So you'll plug in your output, plug it into your camera's input, and that's how you'll send your audio out. Now next to that, you'll see the little link button. You're gonna press and hold this to link your transmitters to your receivers, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. Now on the other side, you're gonna find your power button, and you're gonna press and hold your power button to turn on the transmitter or turn off your transmitter. Pretty simple. On the bottom of this receiver, you have a clip, so you could clip it on to wherever you need to have the receiver mounted, or this clip is also a cold shoe mount, so you can put it right on top of your camera. And on the back, you have your 4 gold dots. This is how you're gonna charge your receiver. And you also have a USB-C on the back of this receiver. So you could plug this directly into your computer if you wanna use this as your audio for your computer. You could also use this to charge the receiver as well. Now there's a little cover on the back, and you can open this up, and this is where you're gonna add your adapters. So if you're gonna connect this directly to your phone using the USB-C or the lightning port, you hook it in right here, and then you can hook it directly to your phone. And so when you wanna use your DJI MIMO app, what you're gonna do is hook up your adapter, connect it to your phone, and then you have access to all of your settings. So it is important that you do use your phone with the DJI MIMO app with the Mic Mini so that you can get the most out of this microphone. And so that's everything that you're gonna find on the receiver itself. It's a fairly simple setup, and so there's not a lot to it. However, let's go through how you actually pair this with different devices, and then also how you actually use all the features that are built into the Mic Mini. All right, so let's dig into how you actually connect this system and how you start using it. So when you get it out of the box, if you bought the transmitter and receiver together, they're gonna come prepared. However, if you link it to something like your phone, you'll need to repair both the transmitter and the receiver when you're ready to start using them together again. And it's fairly simple. So you just need to turn on both devices, press and hold the pair button on the transmitter, press and hold the pair button on the receiver, and you'll wait for the lights to flash until they're connected. You'll see that there'll be a solid green on the transmitter, and there'll be a solid green on the receiver. Now, if you want to pair it to, say, your phone via Bluetooth, you'll press and hold the pair button again, and you'll see the light flash between green and blue. You'll go into your settings on your phone, go to your Bluetooth, and you'll see it will pop up, and now you could use this via Bluetooth with your phone. And when it's in this mode, you'll see that it's solid blue. And when you're done using it in the Bluetooth mode, you just press and hold the pairing button again, press and hold the pairing button on your receiver, and it'll repair instantly back to the receiver. So that's basically the process of pairing this microphone with different setups. Whether you are using your phone or you're using something with like your Action 5 Pro, it's the same process. So for something like the Action 5 Pro, the 4, or the Osmo Pocket, you're gonna go into your deeper menu, go over to wireless mic, click the transmitter button, and then press and hold the pairing button on your DJI Mic Mini until it's flashing, and then it will automatically connect. And then you can start using the Mic Mini with your Action 5 Pro or Osmo Pocket. When you're done, press and hold the pairing button on the Mic Mini again, hold it on the receiver, and you'll be repaired with this setup, ready to go again. So super simple to jump between devices depending on how you actually want to use the Mic Mini. And for me, I've been using the Mic Mini with all the different devices that I work with. So being able to pair it quickly between them makes it super easy to use. And so next, let's go through some of the lights that you're gonna see flashing on the Mic Mini. So if it's solid red, then it's gonna mean that it's less than 10% of battery. If it's solid blue or green, then that means that it's more than 10% of battery. And solid blue or solid green just means, is it paired to the receiver or is it paired to something like your phone or the Action 5 Pro? If it's blue, it's in the Bluetooth pairing mode and it's paired to one of those devices. If it's green, it's paired to your receiver. So if it's green blinking slowly, that means that it's unconnected. And so when it's blinking green, basically what that means is that it is connected to the receiver, but the receiver's not turned on or it's not in range. So it's gonna blink back and forth saying that it's not connected. You wanna see a solid color to know that you're connected. Now it's the same for Bluetooth. If you had it paired to, say, your smartphone, and it's no longer within range, or your phone's not connected for whatever reason, you'll see it blinking blue. If you see it blinking green, blue, green, blue, green, blue, that means it's in pairing mode. And so it's waiting for the receiver or the phone or the Action 5 to go into pairing mode as well so that it can connect. And when you're charging the transmitter as a standalone, if it's blue and green slowly, it's 0 to 25%. If it's blue and green twice, it's 26 to 50%. If it's 3 times, it's 51 to 75%. If it's 4 times, it's 76 to 100%. And if the lights are off, it's fully charged. Now let's talk about the lights that you're gonna find on the receiver, because you have similar types of lights that are gonna be flashing depending on the mode that you're in and what's going on. So in the front, if this light is red, just as on the transmitter, it means it's less than 10% of battery. Now, when it's solid green, that means that you're working in mono or safety track mode. And I'll go through the different modes a little bit later in this video. If it's solid cyan, that means you're in stereo mode. And that's where it splits the audio track between the left and right channel when you're using 2 different transmitters. And also this status LED is gonna dictate what the charging level is when you do plug it in to charge. So if you plug in using the USB-C, you basically have 0 to 25%, it blinks slowly, 26 to 50%, it blinks twice, 51 to 75%, 3 times, 76 to 100%, 4 times. So it basically just goes up in 25% increments and tells you how much charge you have on receiver. And when the lights are off, it's fully charged. Now, the other status indicators you have are next to the 1 and the 2, and these are for the actual specific transmitters, the wireless microphones. And so if these are solid red, that means you have less than 10% on that transmitter. If it's solid green, it means it's connected and you have more than 10% on the transmitter. If the lights are off, that means it's not connected to the transmitters. If it's blinking, that means you're in pairing mode and it's getting ready to connect to the transmitters. And if it's a solid yellow, that means you have noise cancellation turned on for that transmitter. Now, one other way that you could pair your transmitter to your receiver is by just putting them in the charging case. So if they're turned on, you put them all in and it will pair them automatically. Super easy. Now, to use the Mic Mini with your camera, you just need to plug in the audio cable. So you'll pull the receiver, the cable out of your case. I just put it on top of my camera with the hot shoe mount, and then I connect directly via the audio cable into my camera's audio input. And once everything's paired and ready to go, you'll start seeing the levels on your camera. Now, before we dig into the modes for the DJI Mic Mini, I just want to jump in and have a quick conversation about getting good audio with this little wireless system. So the goal with any audio that you're recording is that you're recording it loud enough that you get a clean signal, but not too loud where it's going above what the camera can handle and it clips. So clipping is when the audio gets too loud and you start hearing it get distorted. Now, with the DJI Mic Mini, these auto adjust the levels. So it's gonna ride your volume up and down slightly as you talk with this microphone. However, if you all of a sudden talk loud like this, well, it's gonna clip. It's gonna get way too high and it's gonna start sounding awful. Now here's a sample of what the audio sounds like when it's being recorded too loud and it's clipping. It just doesn't sound good at all. So when I'm talking about the different modes and we're talking about how to set up the microphones, the goal is to get your audio high enough that it has a clean signal, because if it gets too low, well, you're not gonna be able to hear your audio. And then if you try to boost it in your editing software, you're gonna introduce a lot of noise into that audio and you're gonna hear like in the background. So the idea is to record it high enough that it sounds clean, but not too high that it clips. And to go a little bit more technical with it, you want to record your audio anywhere from -6 to -12 decibels. And when you see a camera, this is typically that range when the green turns to orange. So you want to get right up into the orange levels, because usually on your audio meters, you'll have green, yellow or orange, and then red. And red is in that danger zone where it's being recorded too high. Yellow, orange is where it's getting close to too high. And then green is the rest of the audio meter. So ideally you want the green to be touching that orange or yellow, and that's in the range of -6 decibels. So ideally, whenever I'm recording audio, I'm trying to record between -6 and -12 decibels. That way it's not too loud that it's gonna be clipping, and it's also not too quiet that it's gonna cause issues later on when I'm actually trying to edit the audio. Now, if you're just taking your audio straight from your camera and bringing it right into, say, social media or anything like that, you'll want to record it around that -6, even closer to 0 range, but you just want to make sure that you're not recording too high that it's starting to clip. This way your audio is always going to sound clean in the videos that you're creating. Now let's talk about the different modes that you have access to with the Mic Mini. So there's 3 different modes that you can record your audio in. There's mono with a safety track, or you can record in stereo mode. So it all depends on how you plan to use your Mic Mini. If you're just using a single microphone, then you're gonna wanna make sure that you're recording this audio on both the left and right channel. And so what you'll do is use the mono mode. So with any camera that you're recording, there's always gonna be a left and right stereo pair. And when you're in mono mode, it's recording the exact same thing to both the left and the right. And so if you're just using a single microphone, just one mic, you're recording yourself, that's all you're doing, then you're gonna wanna put it in the mono mode, and you're gonna get the exact same recording on both the left and right channel. Now, if you want to have a safety channel, so say you're recording in a situation where your voice might fluctuate, you might be yelling at times, you might be quieter at times, or you're in like a super loud, noisy environment, and you wanna make sure that your audio is not recorded too high, then you could record with what's called mono with a safety track. And so mono with a safety track is basically the same thing as mono, except for the Mic Mini is gonna split your recording between the left and right channel. One side is gonna be recorded at the level that you have set, and the other side is gonna be recorded 6 decibels less. So it's gonna be a little bit quieter. So if you do have audio that gets really high and then goes low, well, there's no chance of your audio clipping. Now, the third mode that you have access to is stereo recording. And you're gonna use this if you are using 2 Mic Minis. So if you have 2 and you're miking up 2 different people, well, then you'll want to put it in the stereo mode if you want to have complete control of your audio later. This way, each microphone is going to be on a separate track so that when you get into your editing software, you can go through and adjust them independently and they're not mixed together. And so that way, if one person is talking much louder than the other person, you can balance them out in your editing software because you do have 2 independent tracks. However, you could also use mono and mono with a safety when you're using 2 microphones as well. The only difference is that it's gonna blend both microphones together into one track and then put it on both the left and right channel. So in the mono mode, it's gonna blend both microphones, put them on both the left, the right, and it's gonna be completely identical. And then mono with a safety, it's the same thing except for that second track is just 6 decibels less. So both the microphones are still mixed together. You have no control of them independently. However, you have the one track that is full volume and then one that's at 6 decibels less to help protect those moments when things get too loud. Now, there's a couple ways to actually change the mode that you're in. So you could do it on the device themselves, or you can do it in the DJI MIMO app. Now, to switch the mode, you have to use the receiver. And how you switch it is you just double click the pair button. And when you double click it, you're gonna see the light on the front go from green to cyan. Green means that it's in mono mode and cyan means it's in stereo mode. Now, one thing you'll notice, if you don't have the receiver plugged into a phone or you don't have a cable plugged in for your camera, this front light is gonna be blinking. It means that it's not connected to a camera. So as soon as I plug in my audio cable, it'll turn a solid green or solid cyan, depending on what mode I'm in. And the same thing if I was gonna plug it into my phone. Now, to switch the mode via the MIMO app, you just plug in the receiver. It's gonna pull up DJI MIMO, go to your settings, and you'll see that there'll be an option for audio channel. And you switch between mono and stereo. Now, one thing to note, you cannot turn on the safety track without pairing it to your phone first. So when you're in your DJI MIMO app, you click mono, now the option for safety track is gonna be available and you just toggle it and now your safety track is gonna be turned on. So the only way that you can actually turn on the safety track is by going into the MIMO app, making sure it's in mono and then turning on the safety track. And when you unplug it from your phone, it's gonna keep the safety track enabled. Now, I'll double click this, put it back into stereo mode, double click it again, put it back into mono mode, plug it back into my MIMO app, and you'll see that even though I changed the mode physically on the device and go back into here, the safety track is still enabled. So the safety track will stay enabled as long as you keep it enabled on the phone. You have to go in here and disable it to turn it off on the actual receiver itself. So if you don't always want to have that mono safe with a safety track, you need to make sure you turn it off in the MIMO app before you disconnect it. So let me give you a quick demonstration of how this works, and so you can see this in real time. So I have both microphones paired right now, and I'm actually recording myself on my phone so you can see my office. Now, both these microphones are right here, so you're gonna be hearing audio from both of them. However, I'm gonna stick one over here. And so now I have one that's right close to my mouth, and I have the other over there by that camera. However, right now I'm in the mono mode. And so you're gonna be getting the same signal on both the left and right channel. And you can see this in the upper left-hand corner here. you'll see that both sides, both the left and right channel, are getting equal, even though the two microphones are in completely different spots in the room. Now let me switch this up. I'm gonna double click the pairing button. I switched it over to stereo mode, and now this is what the audio sounds like without touching anything. So I'm gonna spin around here, and now you're gonna see the other side of the room, and I'm gonna talk directly to this microphone that I have in my hand. Now, you'll hear out of one channel, you're getting clean audio because it's right here in my hand and I'm talking directly to it. The other side, you're not gonna be hearing good audio. It's probably gonna be super echoey. It's on the other side of the room, and it's gonna be not picking up my voice very well. And so this is how you're able to record two different tracks independently, the left and the right channel. And so I'll swing back here, switch it back to mono mode, and now you're getting the same audio on both the left and right channels. So you're getting the clean audio from this microphone, and then you're also gonna get the audio from that microphone, and they're gonna be blended together. So it just depends on what you're planning to shoot. If you have two people, you're probably gonna wanna use the stereo mode, unless you're editing quickly and you don't wanna have to deal with editing each channel independently. You just have this flexibility to be able to split your audio and be able to have full control, or mix it all together and just have a quick mono track, but then you could just post right away and not really have to deal with editing. Now I'm gonna pause the video for 1 second, and if you're someone who's enjoying this video and you wanna learn how to make better videos and grow your YouTube following and all of that, then hit the subscribe button. On this channel, I teach gear, I teach filmmaking techniques, and I also teach how to do all of this on YouTube so that you can build your following, grow your audience, and become a full-time content creator. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video. All right, let's jump back into the Mic Mini. Now, one of the cool ways to use the DJI Mic Mini is to connect it directly to your computer. And I've actually been doing this a lot for recording my voiceover work. I'll just connect the receiver directly into my computer, and then I could talk into my transmitter just like this in front of my computer, and I could create some good sounding voiceovers. Very simple way to be able to do voiceover work for your videos. And how you set this up is you're gonna hook your receiver into your computer using a USB-C. And you'll wanna make sure that your transmitter is connected to your receiver. Now also, you'll wanna make sure that the phone connector is not still attached to the receiver. If you have this plugged in, it's not gonna work. However, now that I've plugged in the receiver, when you go on the computer, you'll see that there's an option for DJI Mic Mini. And now, when I talk into the Mic Mini, you'll see that audio levels are coming through on the computer. And I've just brought down my audio meters down to -12 decibels, and you'll see that it's affecting the audio that's coming into the computer. So now it's gonna be super low on the input level. And now I've gone to +12 decibels, and you'll see that it's recording, it's coming into the computer way too hot, so it's not gonna sound very good. So I brought it back to 0, and you can see that the audio levels are coming in close to the top, but not all the way to the top. So right in that -6 dB range. Now, obviously, when we're looking on the computer, there's no decibel range, and you're just looking at the audio meters based on what the computer has here, the input level. However, you could use this as a guide. You want to get it close to that top, but you don't want to have it peaking, so you don't want it hitting the top, and also you don't want it being recorded too low. Now, the key is whenever you're setting up any audio device, whether it's the computer, the camera, your phone, whatever you're using, you want to make sure that you put the microphone in the placement of where you're going to be using the microphone. So right now I'm hand holding it like this, and you can see that the audio levels on the computer where they're hitting. If I was setting this up and I have the microphone set up like this, but then when I actually go to start use it, I put the microphone like down over here, well, that's not a true way to set up the microphone. You want to have it in the place that you're going to use it, and then go through and set up your levels so that it's recording at the proper volume so that you get the best audio. Now, one of the really cool things with connecting it to your computer is it can be your input source. So if you are doing voiceover work, well, you could connect it directly to your computer, and then you could do a voiceover directly in Final Cut Pro. That's the editing software that I use. And I'm sure with the editing software that you use, if you don't use Final Cut Pro, there is an audio recording option. Now, something else I've been using it for a lot is Zoom calls. Also, I'll plug this in, have it set up. Because these things last so long, 11 and a half hours for these transmitters, I know I could use it for all the stuff I do on my computers. So I keep them on during my Zoom calls and just leave the microphones on. And this way I could hook it to my shirt, or I just put it right in front of me on my computer, just somewhere down here. Then I know I always have good audio when I'm doing those kind of calls. And that way I don't have to set up like a bunch of cables and some bigger microphones. I can do this all wirelessly with a little tiny DJI Mic Mini. All right, let me show you how to set this up with your camera. So I have a screen recording going right here, so I can show you exactly how I would set this up to get the best audio with your DJI Mic Mini. So normally when I use this, I'm gonna put it right in the cold shoe mount on top of the camera, and then I'm gonna hook in the audio cable. Plug it in to both the output on the Mic Mini receiver and the input on the camera. And then I'll hook up the microphone, make sure they're all connected, make sure all the lights are showing me exactly that the transmitter is hooked to the receiver. And now you'll see in the upper left-hand corner, I'm getting audio levels. Now I've previously set this up to work with these audio levels. So when you first plug in your Mic Mini, you might be getting something different here. Now I'm gonna go into my menu and bring up my audio recording. So on your camera, you can adjust the volume of how loud you wanna record your audio. Right now mine is at 7. So if I bring this down to 1, you can see that it's a very low recording. However, I could go up to plus 12 dB on the Mic Mini, and now I'm actually getting a pretty decent recording. It's up just above -12, and that's in the range that I want to be, between -12 and -6 dB. And so if I was to put my camera at 1 and the Mic Mini at plus 12, and I'm talking at this level with the Mic Mini right here, I'm going to be getting the proper audio for the scene that I'm filming. Now let's bring this back to 0. So if I'm back at 0 on the Mic Mini, you'll see that I'm recording too low. The audio meters are hitting at around -20. This is going to be too low of a recording, and it's not going to sound good because it's going to be super low, and I'm going to have to boost it in my editing software, which is going to increase the chances of it not sounding as good. So what I could do in this situation is bring up the internal volume until the audio hits between -12 and -6 decibels. And so now as I'm talking, you can see that it's hitting right in the right range when I'm recording at 9, 10 in camera and 0 on the Mic Mini. Now, if I was to go to -12 on the Mic Mini, then you'll see that it's still recording too low. So I'll bring up the camera even more, boost it, until it's hitting in that -6 to -12 range. And so now the camera's at 21, the Mic Mini's at -12 dBs. Now I'm getting in the good range. Now my suggestion to you is start at 0 dB, and then set the camera to where it sounds best. So if I'm at 0 dB, go back down to 9, it's going to be at the proper level. Now watch, as I bring this up to say -29, you can see that the audio is constantly hitting above 0 and it's just red. This is where you're going to have that clipping, and it's not going to sound good. It's going to sound completely awful. So you want to have it in that range between -12, -6 dB, and then you'll be set up ready to get good audio. So always start with 0 and then adjust your camera. And if you're having issues getting it in the right range with it at 0, that's when you go in and start tweaking at -6 or -12 or +6 or +12. So first start with the Mic Mini at 0, adjust your camera, and then you could go through and change it even more with the Mic Mini if you aren't getting the perfect audio that you need in your camera. All right, so now let's dig into actually working with the DJI MIMO app and what features you have available when you hook in your DJI Mic Mini into the app. So there's 2 ways that you can hook in your microphone into the app. So you could either hook in your transmitter using Bluetooth, and it's gonna have some functionality, or you can hook in your receiver and you're gonna get even more functionality. So let's just start with the transmitter. So I'm gonna put this into pairing mode. I'm gonna hold the pair button until I get the lights to flash blue and green. Now they're flashing blue and green. I'm gonna go into my Bluetooth settings. I'm gonna pair my Mic Mini. It's connected. I'm gonna bring up the DJI MIMO app, hit the button right in the center, and now my Mic Mini is connected via Bluetooth. So I could use this with my phone via Bluetooth without having to use the receiver. But when you're in the DJI MIMO app, you have some different settings here. So there's a few buttons you can turn on or off. Auto off basically means that this will power off if it's not connected to any other device, and it will auto shut off in 15 minutes. This way it's gonna save some power if you're not using the Mic Mini. Now the second option you have access to is power button for noise cancellation. So on the Mic Mini, you can click the power button once at any point, turn on your noise cancellation, your yellow light's gonna turn on, and then your noise cancellation is on. If you don't plan on using noise cancellation, it's a good idea to turn this feature off so that you don't accidentally press it and then have some audio with the noise cancellation turned on when you don't actually want to use it. So I'm going to press the power button again. The little yellow light's going to turn off. And then the last option you have in your MIMO app is the mic LED. So you can click this and all of your lights on the Mic Mini are not going to be showing. So the device is still powered on. Everything is still working. However, the lights are turned off. So if these lights are bothering you and you don't want to see them when you're recording, you can go in here, turn them off, and then you won't see any LED lights. Now also, you want to connect your Mic Mini transmitter directly to your phone when you need to update it. So updates come directly from the MIMO app. So you're going to connect via Bluetooth and you'll go back to the main home screen, and at the top where it says DJI MIMO, there will be a little bar right there that says update. And so if you're working with two Mic Minis, you'll need to connect each one individually, go in here and update them independently. You're not going to be able to update it if you just connect the receiver into your phone. All right, so now let's go over the DJI MIMO app when you connect the receiver. So I'm going to put on my USB-C adapter. You just line up the arrows and push the adapter on until it fully clicks in on the receiver. Plug the receiver into your phone, and when you're in the DJI MIMO app, you'll see that your settings will automatically pop up. So you could either use this option to record only, or you can go into your settings. So I'm going to go into the settings so we can see everything about our microphone and change the rest of the settings. Now right now, it's showing that no transmitters are connected. So I'm going to power on my first transmitter. I'm going to go back into pairing mode by holding the pair button. It's going to flash. I'm going to hold the pairing button on the receiver. It's going to start flashing on the 1 and 2. And now this is going to connect. And you can see in the app, it now says TX1. It shows the battery life and it shows that it's connected. And you can see that my audio levels are coming through on the left and right channel. Now let's pair the other microphone. So I opened up my case, I pulled it out, and because this was already paired, it automatically popped up, and right there, TX2 has a full battery, and I'm in mono mode, so you see that both of them are recording on the left and right channel. So let's go through some of these options that you have access to in the MIMO app. So under the receiver settings, the RX settings, this is where you could change your noise cancellation. And there's two types of noise cancellation. There's basic, which is going to be better for relatively quiet environments, but you just want to cut out some background noise. And strong, when you want to cut out a lot of the background noise. So imagine being in a super loud environment and you want to focus in on your voice. So this is for noisy outdoor environments. All right, so let's go through the different noise cancellation modes. Right now, this is what it sounds like with no noise cancellation turned on. And I have some sounds here so we have some background noise because it's pretty quiet up here. So we'll turn this on. This is some city sound effects from New York. Pretty much the furthest place from where I'm at right now. But this is what it sounds like when I'm talking, and this is with no noise cancellation turned on. So now I've turned on the basic noise cancellation, and I've left the New York sounds playing in the background at the same distance, so you get a sense of how much it's going to be reducing the sounds in the background and how much it's focusing in on my voice. Now with the two levels of noise cancellation, the basic is going to be for a little bit quieter environments, whereas the strong is definitely for when it's super loud. So let's turn on the strong, but to do that, I have to hook it into my phone and switch over to the strong setting in the MIMO app. All right, I've turned on the strong noise cancellation, and let's get the background playing again. So now I have the same sound effects playing in the background, New York City soundscape, the same volume, the same distance from the microphone, and I'm just gonna talk on this hilltop. Got some clouds coming in the distance. Looks like there might be some rain, but just peeking out over that mountain behind you is Catalina. Pretty cool view from up here. But yeah, what do you think of the sounds with the strong noise cancellation turned on? And now here's with it turned off. So you could really hear the difference between strong and back to just no noise cancellation turned on. So you'll select which noise cancellation you want to have on, and then when you turn on your noise canceling on the transmitter and it shows yellow, it's going to be using the one that you have set here in the MIMO app. So just make sure to set this up before you use the noise cancellation on your transmitter. Now underneath that, you have your audio channel. You have mono and stereo, and we already went over how you actually use mono and stereo with this microphone. And the next option is for that safety track, so mono with a safety track. Now, the next option is for a low cut filter. So this removes some lower frequencies in the audio spectrum so that it gives you just a little bit more clarity on your voice. I would play around with this, see if this is an option that you personally want to use when you're out recording, and see if you like the audio that you're getting out of the Mic Mini when this is turned on. Oftentimes when I'm working with wireless external microphones, there is a low cut filter, and I usually don't use it. However, there are some of you who might want to use this, so I highly suggest just test it. Do some recordings with the low cut filter turned off, and do some with the low cut filter turned on. And the same thing with the noise cancellation. Play around with it. Do multiple recordings, bring it back to your computer, listen to them, see what sounds the best, listen to them from your phone, listen to them from your headphones, just so you can get an idea of what each one of these is doing to your audio and how your voice sounds when you're recording. Now for your receiver, there's the same auto off feature. So you can have the receiver automatically turn off if it's not connected to anything and it hasn't been used for the last 15 minutes. Now a cool feature you can turn on is this auto on and off with camera. So when this is turned on, when you have it hooked up to your camera, if you shut off your camera's power, the receiver is actually going to shut off its power as well. And the same thing, if you power on your camera and it's connected, it's going to automatically turn on the receiver. So this is a good feature to have on if you're using this with your camera, so that when you turn your camera on and off, it automatically turns on the DJI Mic Mini on and off. Now the last option is this clipping control. And the DJI Mic Mini is trying to get the best audio without actually clipping that audio, getting it too high. And so for most of the time when I've been working with the DJI Mic Mini, I've just left this option on. It just gives me a little bit more safety, trying not to clip that audio on the high range. Now when you scroll down a little bit further, you have the same transmitter settings that I showed you earlier when you had the Mic Mini hooked up via Bluetooth. So you're going to use a mix of the physical buttons on the transmitter and the receiver, while also connecting to the MIMO app to take full control of this microphone system. Check, 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 check. Check 1, 2. Well, I came up here to shoot a few shots for this video at sunset, and I completely messed up by not having a camera plate for my tripod. So my camera is going to be on my bike here, and we're going to shoot these scenes balancing on the seat. Now let's go to the last section, which is all about how to get good audio using the DJI Mic Mini. So a big thing with this system is the distance. Now, in a clear line of sight, I could start walking away from you, and I'm going to have audio that's going to be clean with a clear line of sight to the camera. The system is supposed to go up to 400 meters away. However, you have to have a clear line of sight. So this is right here in the middle on my chest, and I have the receiver right there over on the camera. As soon as you put something between the transmitter and the receiver, you're going to cut out the signal. It's not going to be as clean. It might break up a little bit, or it might just completely break apart fully. So when you're close to the receiver, I could turn around. You're still going to hear my voice. It's not going to break apart. There is some distance you can be away from the receiver and still be able to, block yourself, move around, and you're still going to get clean audio. The problem with line of sight is distance. So as I start walking away, I'm just going to go even further this time, and I'm just going to keep talking, walking down this trail, and I'm going to turn over here to the right, and definitely my body is blocking the transmitter from the receiver, and you probably won't be able to hear anything anymore. So it's probably definitely cutting out at this point. But I'll turn around. I now have a clear line of sight, and you'll probably be able to start picking up this audio again. So it's very much a line of sight at a distance. But when you're closer to the receiver, you'll have some flexibility where you can block the signal a little bit and it will still sound fine. Nice view. Now, when you're in an indoor setting, an office setting like this, you're in your studio, wherever you're filming, there's a few things that you want to think about to get the best audio from your DJI Mic Mini. So right now I'm recording using the Mic Mini. This is what it sounds like in my office. But if I was to put the microphone over here, you can see how much worse it sounds because it's going to be more echoey. It's going to feel more distance. So you're going to want to keep the Mic Mini close to you. Now also, because there's a lot of hard surfaces in this space, you're going to hear some reverb. So you're going to hear more echo in a room, especially if it's a bigger room, if there's large flat spaces, if there's not a lot of sound treatment to be able to get rid of this reverb, you're gonna hear just a lot of echo, a lot of sounds bouncing around. So one of the things that you could do is actually put some sort of cover over you to get better audio in this setting. So now I've put a sweatshirt over myself and I'm keeping the microphone at a proper distance away from my mouth, and this is what it sounds like. So you're not going to be hearing as much of the room ambience because it's being blocked by the fabric that I have on my sweatshirt. I take this off and all of a sudden you're going to start hearing more of that room's ambience. So one of the tricks that creators will use to be able to get better sound for your voiceover is actually go in a closet with clothes. That's going to help get rid of all of that ambient sound and help get rid of the echo that you hear in a room that's big and open and has lots of flat walls. Now, if you're not doing necessarily voiceover work, and you actually have to be on camera like this, well, you could use like sound blankets or like just a big sheet or something right on the edge of camera on either side or right where my voice is projecting. And it's gonna help break up that sound a little bit so you don't get so much reverb in the room. Now, if you are someone who's dealing with not the best audio, well, there are some AI editing tools that's gonna help fix the audio and get rid of some of this background ambience. You could turn on the noise reduction that's in the DJI mic itself, clean it up a little bit that way, or you could go through and use an AI editing software, something like Aphonic, and be able to do this afterwards when you're actually editing your videos. So one of the things I suggest you do is play around with the space that you're going to be filming in, especially if you're using this for your YouTube channel, for your videos at home. Play around with some different techniques to get the best audio. Turn on the noise cancellation and see how that sounds if you're using it with noise cancellation turned on versus the noise cancellation turned off. Also play around with positioning and where your microphone is to be able to get the cleanest audio that doesn't have a lot of background noise. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you touch this microphone and you're moving your fingers around, well, you're gonna hear all of that movement. Even though if it doesn't sound like I'm doing anything to my ears, you could definitely hear what's going on right now. You hear that I'm like touching it, I'm moving my fingers around. It's not gonna sound the best. If you're ever holding this microphone, just try to not rub it in any way. Try to keep it as still as possible. And if you have it on yourself, try not to let clothes rub against it because that's all gonna create rustling sounds in your audio. And if you can, you could clip it onto something and let it sit there so that there's no chance of you getting that rubbing sound. Now, one of the ways that I often use the DJI Mic Mini is when I'm wearing my backpack, because I use the chest strap and I just hook the Mic Mini right into the chest strap. It puts it in the perfect place to be able to record audio. And so when I'm outdoors, when I'm hiking, whatever I'm doing outside, and it makes sense to wear a backpack, this becomes like one of the easiest places to place this microphone. Whether you are just putting this on your t-shirt, a jacket, or like a backpack like I have, the ideal spot that you want to put your microphone is right here in the center. This is an omnidirectional microphone, meaning that it's recording audio in a 360 sphere. It's not directional, so it's not pointed in one specific direction. So you could put it right here at your chest and it's the right distance away from your mouth so that you get nice, clean audio instead of like right here in your mouth and then you're just like really talking into it. That doesn't sound very good. And also you want your microphone a little bit away from your mouth to sound the best. This is why when I'm hand holding the microphone, I keep it a little bit of distance. But if I do have it on my shirt or backpack strap, I like to keep it right in the center of my chest. Now, you could put it on one of the either sides of the strap, but just know if you turn your head away, you're gonna hear the audio start to fluctuate. So if I say had this over on my backpack strap on my left, and I turn over here to my right, you'll see that it instantly is gonna change the sound. Whereas when I talk this way, you're gonna hear a completely different sound. So ideally, you want it centered and you want it the same distance at all times away from your mouth so that your audio is consistent. So I put it right here because very rarely do I look down to talk. I'm always gonna be projecting more out towards the camera, towards you. And having it at the chest keeps it a good amount of distance away from the mouth and also keeps the audio consistent so that you always have a clean sound. So if you are gonna be using it in this way, where you're gonna be talking to camera and you just want it in a good spot where you're always gonna get clean sound, center of the chest, somewhere in this region is gonna be the ideal spot to use it. Now, if you're hand holding, same kind of concept. You wanna keep it centered and you wanna keep it the same distance from your mouth. So if you turn your head, well, you wanna move the microphone with your head wherever you're rotating. So if I turn my head to the left, I want to rotate the microphone over here. If I turn the head to the right, well, I want to rotate my microphone over here. That way your sound is always consistent versus if you like kept it over here and then you're talking this way, you have that same issue where the audio is going to start changing and fluctuating. So just same distance from your mouth, same position. That way you can have clean, consistent audio with whatever you're doing. And because this microphone is so small, it is good to be able to just hold and have a microphone that you can talk to and not have to have it clipped onto something. It allows you to get clean audio with whatever you're doing by just hand holding this microphone. So the DJI Mic Mini is an awesome little wireless microphone system, and there's a ton of features packed into it, even though it is so small. So if you have any other questions around the DJI Mic Mini, please let me know down in the comments if there's anything else that you want me to go over with this setup. And if you're someone who's going to be doing outdoor or adventure or travel style videos and using a Mic Mini, then I highly suggest checking out this video right here, which is going to go through a ton of tips and how you make better outdoor and adventure style videos. And also make sure you head over to the creatorfilmschool.com where I have all my courses designed specifically for those of you who want to do this. Go out in nature, go explore and make videos and build your audience around that. So I'll see you over there.